Wes Veldink Movement was the company, the dance company,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
that was
that's not,
just
you're not
that was just
associating that
2000 to
anymore.
2005.
Okay.
That was just my company.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you want to say, I think you just say my name, or I'm gonna talk about Common Sense Creations.
Okay. Okay.
That's the production company I've had since and still.
Very cool. All right. Well, we are we are rolling here with Wes Veldink. He's a professional choreographer, dancer, kind of a lot of the artistic stage world.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you guys?
Good. How you doing today?
Happy to be here.
Good.
Awesome. Yeah, doing well.
It's my first podcast, so
Very
Really?
cool.
yeah.
Right on. And it's a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely different, but it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, or if you want to start at the beginning, we can, but we could start with what you're working on right now and then go back to the beginning, Tarantino it.
However you want to go.
Okay, yeah. What are you working on right now?
I'm working with a singer in Ashland, Danielle Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Recently found her through a stylist friend of mine in Medford, and I'm just creative directing and helping her with laying out the releases and videos and concept and live performance, movement. Yeah, I'm really happy to have found her.
Very cool. Yeah, and we were talking a little bit before about that, and so it's like you guys are. It started off as one thing, and it's kind of grown into a bigger thing.
I directed a video for her that we're editing now, and we totally hit it off, and it was great. And so, staying on now for the next couple months, just helping her strategize these next singles and releases that are coming out. She's working with 2 different producers right now, and so she's releasing singles, and then we're concepting videos, and she's great. She's so talented. If you're in the Valley, go check her out. She's performing all the time at wineries this summer. And yeah, she has multiple venues and stuff with her band. And she has her solo stuff as well.
Oh,
and
cool.
She's just a great human being, too.
Very cool. Yeah, I saw the thing with her band. It's like they have like not just your traditional like drums and electric guitar. They have other instruments and stuff.
Oh, yeah, she has a great saxophone player, bass player, drums, guitar. Yeah, it's great.
What kind of like music does she do? Does she do like jazz or like rock?
I would say rock with the band.
Mm-hmm.
Pop, rock. They do a lot of covers as well.
That's cool.
She did an awesome rendition of Prince's Kiss,
Right on.
the last show I went to. And then her solo stuff, I would say, is more pop. Yeah. And it's great. She's got a great sound.
Very cool.
Awesome. That actually sounds really cool.
Yeah, you guys should come to the show. One of her shows, she's got a couple the next couple weeks. I think they have some dates through September, too, while it's still nice out.
Yeah, I would love to do that. That would be super fun to do.
She's playing a bunch of outside venues, too. It's great.
I love outside venues. I mean, I know it can be difficult for the performer because of like the sound reverb and all that stuff, but it is a good time for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And Klamath Falls, like those venues are pretty big. Like,
I haven't been to any venues in
not,
Klamath Falls.
Yeah, they're not. Because you said was it Klamath Falls that she was?
Ashland.
Ashland. That's yeah. Ashland's still got big venues too.
Yeah, the Brit.
Yeah, they've got. I think. Wasn't
And of course the Shakespeare Festival.
Right.
Wasn't Keanu Reeves' band in the Brit Festival this year?
Oh,
or
I don't know.
last year?
I don't know.
I think it was last year.
It was last year.
Yeah.
I almost went to the Brit Festival for that, which Brit Festival was. I've been there once when I was a kid, but I haven't been there since, so I don't know how much has changed. And
It's so great. There's a nice slope, and then the stage, so the performers are looking out the trees. They always comment on their view. It's so beautiful.
awesome.
And you're
I'll have
just-
to check that out.
And then you're just there with your blankets or chairs, or you can buy seats, I think. You can
Yeah.
purchase seating.
Yeah, I think they even have like some now they have like some actual seats that you can sit in,
yeah.
like theater seats.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when we went to Ani DeFranco out there, it was
So good.
it was a great show. But
Yeah.
there was like you said, blankets and
Yeah.
people just dancing in the grass.
Yeah.
And yeah, so definitely a totally different kind of show than like
She played a song that night and was talking about how she was trying to. The lyric is how to sway and bend like the trees. And she like stopped the song and looked up at the trees, and everybody saw the trees. It was perfect.
yeah. She's very cool like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's another piece of this puzzle that the audience doesn't know yet, is that you're actually my uncle. You were
Yeah.
in the room when I was born. I've been on some
Proudly.
of these adventures with you.
Yeah. I'm a proud uncle. Your mom made me an uncle. You're my first nephew.
I know. No, a little premature. How old were you? 12?
I was 12.
Yeah.
Yep. And your mom was 16. And my dad and I joined her at a couple of Ma's classes. And then next thing I know, it's just me and Patty, your mom. And I was there when you were born. Changed my life.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Changed my life a little bit too.
Right.
No, that's.
I'm over here. I'm chilling over here.
Yeah.
Who was there when you were born?
Nobody.
That's kind of what I expected.
Yep. I just came out and I was like, let's go. No, I used to have a lot of family that was there when I was born, but a lot of them either, moved on with their lives or aren't here anymore. So,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, got a little family left, but that's about it.
And
Yeah.
you're from here. You're saying, and you said your family, have they moved away or?
Some of them have. There's a lot of them that we don't talk anymore.
Mhm.
So I mean, they do their own thing, But and then I have my parents here. They actually live up in Merlin, and I still talk to them every day. I mean, love my mom and dad to death. And then I have my adoptive family, and they're also great.
Cool.
Yeah. So, other than that, though, I mean, lots of friends have turned into family.
Yeah, love that.
And it's awesome making like a big family of just like friends. Me knowing pretty much everybody here in town is, I can walk into a store and I swear it's like a celebrity walking into Walmart. It's ridiculous sometimes.
Why is that? Because you know everybody.
I know everybody. So I walk into the store and everyone's like, "Hey, it's Mike."
Mike's
I'm
here.
like, "Hey, what's up?"
Nice.
But no, it's fun. It's cool. I ain't complaining about it. But yeah, I think overall the biggest family I've made is mostly my friends. Besides my own parents. But
Yeah, you've talked about that on the show actually before, where you're like, now that I'm getting to know people and reaching out and feeling support from the community, that it's like building a family kind of
support
thing.
counter again.
That's cool.
Let's not do that again.
Yeah, let's not.
We've been down this road.
Yeah. That was enough support from that last episode.
Right. Yeah. So the reason why I mentioned though that we're related is that I know that you didn't just, start off like out gallivanting the world and working with people, and that you came from a small area and that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's talk about that. How'd you get into dance in the first place?
Okay, yeah, I was born and raised here in Grants Pass. Always wanted to dance. I remember third grade learning the word choreographer on a spelling list in school, and had to look up the 10 words, and learn how to spell them. I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. I was always choreographing in my room and putting on shows for my family and stuff like that. And then middle school, I met my friend, my PE teacher turned friend was Karen Daggett Austin. And she encouraged me to send in a tape to this TV show called Star Search that filmed in LA. And we did, and I was on the show, and I was 15. And coming back from that, it really confirmed that I wanted to pursue dance. And so there wasn't a studio here, and the nearest place was probably like Portland. I went to Eugene and did like a summer camp, dance camp for a week or something like that. But yeah, there wasn't anywhere here to really train. And so Karen and I opened a dance studio when I was 15 and teaching before I'd ever really studied or trained technically. And it was that teaching and the money I made teaching and saved that I was able to move away 2 years later. I had met a local talent agent that, more of a modeling agent, but she was taking up some talent as well. And she saw me dance at the mall and came up to me and was like,
God, that photo.
that photo. And we're going to LA to go to this competition, and the judges are agents, and it's a way for you to be exposed to the market there and commercial dance. And so I went, and I was like 16 then, and the only dance agent at the time saw me dance there, or one of the owners of the agency, and then introduced me to the dance department. Was like, whenever he gets here, or when she said to me, whenever you get here, we're ready to send you out on auditions. Let's go. So I came back from that trip and put into a plan of how am I going to get there. So started saving my money and got accepted to a Orange County High School of Performing Arts to complete and finish my senior year, and rented a room in that school district from, shout out to Dave and Luann Daggett, who were Karen's in-laws, and rented a room from them. Boom, I'm there like a week or two before my senior year started, and just soaked up all of the training and dancing I was doing for the first time. I felt late getting there, and so it was really like, yes, I'm finally getting to be the student and dance and be with other dancers. And that year, that's when I met one of my mentors, Cindy Montoya Picker. She snatched me up right away and just really took me under her wing, and I was assisting her and helping her with her commercial jobs that she was doing, music videos and live performance stuff. And so senior year, I'm there in LA. My 18th birthday in the spring, I had booked a movie called Newsies. And so just as I was finishing out my school year and starting to think about what am I doing when this money runs out. I mean, I was auditioning. I'd done a commercial at that point, like a French cookie commercial, dancing, and something else. But I think Newsies was like my third job, first film, and just freaking the heck out that I was going to work for 6 months on this feature film. And started that on my birthday in March, and then just went into the commercial world when I graduated, and was auditioning and dancing. And year after high school, I booked a show in Japan. So I moved to Japan and was there for a year and dancing there. Came back. I always knew I wanted to choreograph, so I was approaching my agent and saying, I really want to choreograph, and I was just too young, So I was auditioning, I started teaching around that time. So then I was teaching after just studying and training intensely for 2 or 3 years. I was teaching again the first time since leaving Oregon. And so that was a whole new world, because now I had a better understanding of my body, a better understanding of my voice and my art, the music I loved, and just started choreographing and teaching, and there was a real connection with the student base there.
And you probably had, like, at that point, a pool of, like, students who had, like...
No, when I started teaching, I had been studying and taking class. I was a student in these studios, Tremaine Dance Studio in the Valley and Edge Performing Arts in Hollywood. So I was taking class and finding my people, and then I think someone asked me to sub for them, and there was a great response, and I was subbing more and more. and that was at Tremaine. And then the guys at Edge were like, "We heard you're teaching over in the Valley. Why don't you teach here?" Like, because I take class here, you know. And I was on the work study. And they're like, "Try it out." So I started teaching there and had a great response and connection. And so I was teaching at both places for the 10 years I was in LA. But yeah, I continued to dance and audition as a dancer. Then I was teaching and really happy to be teaching because choreography is what I wanted to do. I like being behind the camera. I like being a part of the whole creative process. And performing was more or less what I had to do, you know, and I didn't mind it. I loved
Right.
dancing and performing, but my real heart was my eye was on like being a choreographer or a director.
But like bringing your vision to life instead of somebody else's.
Yeah, being in the creative
Yeah.
space, you know, and creating. So, I finally my agent represented me as a dancer, not just as a dancer. I mean, as a choreographer. So then I started working as a choreographer as well. Meanwhile, traveling and teaching, auditioning when I was in town, choreographing when things came up and that were a good fit. Started going to Europe around like the third or fourth year I was there, and that opened up a whole new student base. But I was there 10 years, and then I moved to New York because I wanted to. I had done a lot of the television, film, commercial dance, and at that time, at 1999, I knew I wanted to go to New York because the city I'd been visiting, and the city just really inspired me. I loved the energy. I loved the dancers I was meeting when I was teaching there, and I knew that I wanted to explore, do more live dance. And at that time in LA in the 90s, there were club performances. My friends Bubba and Ryan had this awesome show called Psycho Dance Show, and it was off the hook, amazing. And
Like a live show?
yeah, like a live show, but cabaret and smaller venue and just wild, like all the stuff that we weren't having to do in the commercial world.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so there was like dance in the only live performance was like dance clubs and stuff like that where they would put on shows for the crowd. But yeah, so I knew going to New York that that was where I could have a live company of dancers that we could collaborate and create and choose the narrative, choose the music, and write our own shows, do self-produced work. And so that was amazing. And I had a dance company from 2000 to 2005. And then around 2004, the agents in LA started opening up agencies, their offices in New York. So they reached out to me. They're like, "We're here. We're opening up. So do you want to be on our roster?" So then I started doing commercial stuff again. That was on the East Coast. That was local. That was there. And so there was television. There was film. There was fashion stuff, live performance stuff. So I was doing all of that and teaching still and traveling internationally still and domestically here in the States, and not dancing so much, but just choreography and directing and creative direction. Yeah.
Awesome.
Then I left there in 2022 and went to Mexico to decompress and see and figure out what the next steps or chapter was going to be. I was ready to leave New York after COVID happened,
Yeah.
and was in Mexico for about 9 months, and then I ended up back here. I was back and forth from here and did a job on the East Coast. So I was in and out of Mexico for 9 months, and then I ended up here,
Very
back
cool.
home after 33 years. And I'm just really happy to reconnect with my family and you and your kids.
Yeah,
and
I'm so
everyone.
happy to have you back. And
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved being able to travel and see you and spend summers in New York and things like that. But having like when it's, Sunday dinner and we get to
Yeah,
go over
the
and
real life, everyday stuff.
yeah, exactly. That's a little bit different. It's more of a real thing instead of like just these snippets of memories.
Right.
Yeah. So we're happy to have you back too. And I'm glad to find that you found like something here that you're enjoying,
Yeah.
you know, instead of like having to travel off to do this show or
Yeah,
travel
yeah.
off to do that.
Mhm.
So that's really cool too.
Yeah, I was really happy to find Danielle because it wasn't just that she, excuse me, that she just wanted choreography, but she also wanted to collaborate on concept and um, the music too, and just like her video treatments and live performance. So I get to get my hands in there, so it's good.
Yeah, very cool.
It's gonna be fun.
Mhm.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the abridged, the here to there story, but let's dive in a little bit.
Okay.
Have some fun with it. Um, for example, Michael, do you know what Star Search is?
No idea.
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of people at home aren't gonna know either.
So it's like the original. It was a talent show.
It's
and
like
it was
America's Got Talent,
Yeah.
kinda.
before America's Got Talent and before So You Think You Can Dance. It was, and they had different categories, right? So they had an acting category where these aspiring actors would come out and do a little monologue or skit with other actors, and then there was a supermodel competition, the dance competition, the junior dance competition, the singing competition, the I think they had a comedians at one.
Yes, they did.
At one part too. Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell, like
Yeah.
all these. Oh, amazing,
Yeah.
famous. Yeah, yeah.
You used to
comedy.
be where if you made it on Star Search, like you
Yeah.
were destined for
Yeah,
Hollywood.
yeah, and it was head to head, so it was like two competitors, the returning champion and then the challenger, and then they had finals at the end of the year, Star Search finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a venue for a small town kid to go show their talent, and yeah,
Yeah. So in a sense, it's kind of like America's Got Talent, but
yeah.
just an
except you
older-
don't get the audition process, and you just get here's the returning champion, and then here's their challenger that week.
Gotcha.
Ed McMahon was the host. You know
Mhm.
who that is?
No idea.
He was
I'm too
he was-
young for that.
he was a sidekick for Johnny Carson on late night TV, and then
I do know Johnny Carson.
yeah, so that was his sidekick guy
Gotcha. Okay.
sitting on the couch.
Gotcha. That makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of clicked. I'm still too young for that, but
Well, that's why I wanted to point it out. I'm like, Star Search, that's like, that would be like if you were winning like American Idol or something like that nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people, and it is, like you said, tons of famous people used to, like, got their start there.
We filmed it in '88, and it came out in '89, like 4 or 5 months later after we'd filmed it. And then over time, you know, I moved to LA in '90, and so then I get there, and then these time had to pass for these actors to show up on TV shows or comedians to hit it big, and so then it was like, oh, I think he was on Star Search, because I was an avid fan watching it from small town USA,
Right.
Grants Pass. So over the years, it's just interesting to remember, or someone hits it late, you know, and then you're like, oh yeah, he was on Star Search, and they show a clip or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a thing. Singers, actors, and no dancers really make it famous, you know, from that show.
Right.
So it was more about the comedians, I think.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Is it like on YouTube and stuff?
Oh, probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you
maybe I'll
could
check
probably
something
out.
find an old clip of it.
All
or
the
Yeah.
famous
something.
people are gonna have their clips, you know, they'll be there. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Sounds like something I would just kind of check out and look at.
It's
I've
totally
never heard of
80s.
it.
It's 80s down.
I like 80s stuff though.
Yeah,
like,
it's 80s.
To be fair, like I like more of the old school stuff. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
We filmed at that Star Search. We were at the Pantages Theater,
Mhm.
which is a famous theater in Hollywood, and it's on Vine in Hollywood. And later, it turned in after Star Search finished. I don't know how long it was on, 10 years or something. I don't know, maybe longer. But when it closed, the theater turned into the Nickelodeon studio for Hollywood. But it was kind of a landmark theater. And then, you know, I was there in '88, and then fast forward to around '97. So almost 10 years later, I was living on the street that turns into Vine, so like 2 blocks away and I would pass the theater every day to get onto Hollywood. It's like, there's Star Search. It was Nickelodeon then, but it was like, oh, there it was. Like,
Yeah.
I remember my 15-year-old self being there and not knowing what anything beyond that block looked like, but I was in Hollywood.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. That is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that apartment with Keith on.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
The one with the courtyard?
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
That was a really cool place.
I was living there when I got Sophie, my dog Sophie. That was, oh man, why am I blanking on it?
Are you trying to think of the year?
No, the name of the street.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I was too young
yeah.
to care about the name of the street. I knew if I walked down the hill and turned this way, I could get donuts.
Yep.
You- like-
exactly.
So yeah, so that actually does bring me kind of to what I was gonna bring up next. Is so you mentioned Newsies,
Yeah.
which you worked as a dancer on
Mhm,
Newsies,
mhm.
not a choreographer, right?
Yeah, I was 18. My first day was my birthday. I had to wait till I was 18 to. I think they called me the week before, and they're like, They had Kenny Ortega was the director,
Mhm.
and it was a Disney film, and they were making a real push and wanting to bring back the MGM musical, and there hadn't been for a minute anything big like that. So Kenny was directing, and I think after first month or two of pre-production, Disney was like, "We want to give you more money and have a bigger cast and a longer movie and more music," and so I didn't even audition. They just called and said, "You're starting on your birthday next week," and we worked on it for like 6 months.
Very cool.
So at that point, I had only been in LA for 7 months or 6, and that job, it's an all-male cast, aside from the love interest, but it was a all-male cast, so I got to meet all of the dancers, male dancers that were working in LA at that time.
Right, because it's a big cast.
Big
Yeah.
cast. There was, I don't know, 30, 40. And there was a group that was like a younger group, but for the most part, we were all, 18 and up to 30s, in our 30s or something.
So was it like a Disney movie or something?
He doesn't
that
know.
was released?
You don't know Newsies?
No idea.
No
If
one has
this-
to know Newsies. You don't have to know it.
No.
I know. I'll look it up and stuff, but
Newsies is a cult classic, though. It's like I don't know. It's not as big as like other cult classics like Jaws or something, but it is up there. Like most
There was
people
a
who know
big-
what Mallrats is would know what Newsies is.
Okay.
Christian Bale was the lead, if you know who he is.
Yeah,
It was
Batman.
it was one of his first movies.
Yeah, no. With your age, a lot of times I'm like, yeah, okay, he doesn't know. But Newsies
like-
surprises me because it's one that I would think that a nerd like you would know.
Well, like to be fair, like I know like a lot of old stuff, but like that's just one I've just never heard of.
Yeah.
And so I mean I don't know if the rest of the audience is going to know because I mean
True.
a lot of-
Maybe.
Sure.
Tell us in the comments. Maybe you knew it. Maybe you didn't.
If not, I mean everybody's got Disney, so go watch it. I'm
Yeah,
sure
there
it's
you
on
go.
there.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. It's a great movie. If you like musicals and that kind of storyline, but
Yeah.
it's got kind of that shoot, what's that? Never mind. We'll move on. I don't know musicals well enough to go down that road. I can't think of the name.
It was good. It was fun. It was really
That's
exciting.
awesome though. Like that would be something like really cool to be able to say like, yeah, I was in a movie.
Growing up, I was because like I was saying earlier, there wasn't a studio here for me to train.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time we had VHS, so you'd
Right.
go to the video store and I would grab and watch multiple times whatever they had in the MGM musical department.
Right.
Then also MTV was coming up and starting. That
Oh.
started when I was like
That's
10.
MTV days.
So I was taking in all of the music video stuff and then the MGM musical stuff. So Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, I loved them. And so then on Newsies, the director, Kenny Ortega, his mentor was Gene Kelly. So after we had rehearsed for 2 or 3 months and we're about to start filming the movie, Kenny says, "I'm bringing in my mentor tomorrow. for you all to meet and show him everything we're gonna do and get notes from him, get feedback from him, and then we start filming next week. So it was a thrill of a lifetime to meet Gene Kelly. He's it. And if you don't know who that is, look him up. he was, him and Fred Astaire were it.
Right.
As far as the MGM musicals.
That's really cool.
I thought it was fun being able to actually come and go be on set a little bit during Newsies, and then we did the tour of Universal, which was really cool. And this is another thing that I was going to talk to you about, because you were talking with Tyler on Why So Random about Universal and the kinds of rides they have there and that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. The one that I swear I was gonna die. It was the rock. Was it Rock and Roll roller coaster? I think it was called. Where you're like, so you're in a car and you're like just on the coaster. I was in the front cart, and like you're going through and you're you can see like all these projected like Hollywood signs, and it's like going super fast. I don't know. That's one I remember, but you know, after talking with Tyler on WSR, Why So Random, I honestly think that was the one in Florida.
Oh, okay. Universal Florida.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which that's what I was thinking about that afterwards. I was like, I kind of forgot there was one in Florida. I'm pretty sure that's the one I went to.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it was almost to my hometown.
Right.
In Hawaii.
There's a running joke about him and Jason Momoa being long lost relatives because he's Hawaiian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's my boss.
He wouldn't be offended if you said he looks like Jason Momoa.
No. That was a fun episode. I'm excited for everybody to watch that one.
No, so the reason why I thought about that though is because it reminds me of when we were down there, and like the rides were like backdraft, where the building was like, I mean, it was. Now being older, I can look back and know that it wasn't real. But as a kid, I was like, dude, this building is on fire.
Yeah.
We're driving through an on fire building right now.
Yeah, that was their thing.
And
That's
then
great.
the jaws popping up out of the water.
Yeah,
That
the
one I
bridge
was like,
breaking.
you can tell he's made out of wood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
King
still
Kong
scared,
was
yeah.
King Kong was there. So that was why I was like, that made me think of that. Was like we did all that stuff when I went to visit for Newsies. My glasses got broke. I cried like a little baby.
Nice.
I got there. He gives me this big bear hug, and I was wearing my brand new glasses right on my neck, and they just smashed up against me.
I've been there. I used to.
I was like,
I mean, still
I was like
kinda-
7, 8.
I still kind of am, but I used to be like super, like picky about like what I wear, like how I dressed, and as a kid, I would find like the most expensive like sunglasses. Like I was the cool kid, having the Ray-Bans, and then there was one time, and I think it was like the same thing. Like me and my buddies were messing around or something, and then they just snapped in half. I was like, well, there's a $300 pair of sunglasses. Like, yeah,
I think
I've been there.
Yeah, it's not
Been there.
fun.
It sucks.
I get to
Now
lose
go-
this. Everyone has their threshold of how many glasses they'll lose before they decide no more expensive glasses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they go to
exactly.
Walmart and buy a $20 pair.
Yeah,
They go
yeah.
nuts.
Or the
Yep.
summer pair that you could just throw at the end. 'Cause
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And okay, so you said that thing about Newsies. You didn't know Newsies. Knowing your personality, this one you might know, Tank Girl.
He sounds really, really familiar.
With
Like,
Madonna and the talking kangaroos.
No Madonna.
No Madonna?
Mm-mm.
Why do I?
Lori Petty was Tank Girl.
see, now you're confusing me.
Malcolm McDowell was the villain, and he's from Clockwork
Right.
Orange. But Lori Petty was Tank Girl.
For some reason, I have. Does she kind of have like a Madonna looking face?
She's got bleach blonde hair. Yeah.
Like 80s Madonna? Not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a punk, so she had like all rabbit
Okay,
hair.
so maybe I'm just because I was picturing the cover of her standing on the tank with the gun through her legs, and for some reason in my head I've always saw that picture as Madonna, But now that you're saying that, I'm like, okay, I could see if it was somebody who just kind of looks like that and it's a childhood memory.
Right,
I
right.
could totally
I'm
get
glad
that
we
wrong.
cleared that up.
Yeah. But the talking kangaroos was there, right? I didn't make
Yes,
that
yes, yes,
up.
yes,
Okay.
yes. It was a cool movie.
It's not ringing a bell right now.
No?
No.
It had like mixed comic book and animation, and she was just a punk rebel.
Like I'm sure I've
Vigilante and-
seen it, but like just it's probably been so long since I've seen it that I would have to like watch it again to even remember it.
Okay.
And it's probably something that I watched like as a kid or something. So I probably have no idea.
Okay. One more stab at this, and then I will move on and talk about New York.
All right,
Uh,
I got
you gotta know the Addams Family.
you. Well, yes, I know that one. I know that one a little too well, but yes, yeah, I know that one.
A little too well.
Yeah, when I was a kid, that was like the only movie we had.
Oh, see. So we
So
gotta.
I watched that repetitively. Like, I could probably not anymore, but when I was younger, I could probably name every line. I could probably just do the whole
Recite
movie.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole movie by myself.
That's cool.
Still love that movie though. It didn't burn me out. I got lucky, but yeah, still love that movie. It's a great movie. And then it kind of those types of movies like Addams Family, Beetlejuice. Don't say it 2 more times. I'll kill you. Like those types of movies, like Nightmare Before Christmas, kind of made me like the person I was growing up.
Mm.
So like the goth kid. I was
Mhm.
the cool goth kid.
Well, you can
But-
thank his sweet dance moves then.
Yes, we all thank you. But yeah, like Addams Family was great. I still to this day enjoy that movie. And did they make some show on Netflix?
They just made a show about Wednesday Addams.
Wednesday. Yeah, I was like, still haven't seen that yet. I'm probably gonna get murdered.
We are back. We are rolling.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thank
I
you.
had to
I
pee
needed
so
to go
bad.
too. It happens. We left off. We were talking about you do know Addams Family. I did make the joke. You can thank his sweet dance moves. To be clear, you danced in the music video for the movie.
Yeah, yeah. They did the music video with Tag Team, this rap duo, and their song at the time was "Whoop, There It Is."
Yep.
And they did "Whoop, There It Is," the Addams Family. Like they added
Yep.
that to the song. So they did this music video to promote the movie, and then it also played, I think, during the credits of the movie.
Yeah, it
And it was
did.
a hip hop video. I was in a hip hop video, a white boy in a hip hop video. It was awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's really cool though.
It was very funny when I booked the job. I was like, I'm going to be in a hip hop video? Cool.
Well, yeah, especially back then, because not as many white people were doing hip hop back then
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
That's funny. I didn't even
It's fun.
think of that back when it was happening. It never even crossed my mind.
It was fun.
Okay, so you did that. So you had, like you said, shows there. You went, then you moved to New York
Mm-hmm.
to get into the more like the creative lifestyle side of it.
The live theater, I wanted to explore dance live and have a dance company and have dancers that were committed to this collective project. And we did self-produced work over 5 years. Did some traveling, did some different festivals, went to one in South Korea, came to LA to show it, and then a bunch of different venues and festivals and things in New York. It was awesome.
Sorry, just real quick, I'll throw this in there because it'll fit. I just remembered you worked with that group Zoe Girl.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a Korean group as well?
Zoe Girl wasn't
No?
Korean. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Maybe I'm mixing the two things together. But I forgot about the Zoe Girl thing. You worked
Yeah.
with them for a while.
Yeah.
Now I distracted us from what we
Oh,
were.
you were talking about New York.
Yeah, so New York, so I know like your roommate was in like big show productions, but that's not what you were there for. Like
Yeah,
like
my
he
roommate.
did Fiddler and
Yeah. My roommate did Fiddler on the Roof, and he was doing commercial and film stuff as well. But he did a Broadway show, did a couple Broadway shows, and a couple tours.
So did you ever want to do that? Because you said you got out there to get like creative and
Yeah.
collective, so you weren't going to do that part of it.
No, it was more of the off Broadway shows that I was seeing when I was there visiting that were like there was a show called De La Guarda with the
Oh,
Argentinian group
dude, this
from
show, you would have
Unreal.
loved it. It's
Then they
so sick.
later they did a show called Fuerza Bruta, and they are just immersive dance experience, and they're flying overhead and scaling walls, and there's like a big mosh pit dance party performance above your head.
That
Water.
would be really cool.
It
Yeah,
was insane. It was in a gutted bank in Union Square. And so when you got into the venue, you're looking up like 4 stories, and they completely they lived there. Um, the show lived there, and
right.
they'd gutted it and made it for the show. So I'd been visiting, and I saw that show, and I was like, man, if this is happening here, I want to be here right now. So that was a big inspiration. But I knew that I wasn't a Broadway type guy. I wasn't tall enough to dance in a Broadway show.
Hmm.
I wasn't, I love musical theater, but I'm not a musical theater choreographer. And I was really focusing on choreography and teaching when I moved to New York. So later, when the agents got there, and then, you live in New York. So why wouldn't you? I did some projects or benefits and galas that was within the community of Broadway shows and musical theater performers, but not officially working as a dancer or choreographer. I wanted to do, and all my colleagues were so good at that stuff. So it was like, no, that's the guy. She's the one. Like,
Right, yeah,
it wasn't really my passion or my wheelhouse.
gotcha. That makes sense.
Later, like around, I don't know, like year 15, I don't know, like they they there started to be more experimental theater, and I was like, oh yeah, I would be interested in doing a Broadway show or off Broadway show if it were original work. I started to understand the vocabulary or what would interest me in that vein of Broadway. It would be something original or a complete a remake that was a complete or new idea or reworking, um, and something that I could contribute to that wasn't the classical music theater. I wasn't that guy.
Right. That sounds cool. Like, I've never been to New York, so I'm sure that experience had to be awesome.
It was amazing.
Like, that,
Yeah, I love New York.
like I've seen like pictures and stuff like New York, of course, movies and stuff of New York. Um, I've always wanted to go to New York, just to visit. Don't think I could ever live in New York, but I think it'd be cool just to go see something like that.
Hmm.
Um, what you were talking about, just to go see. 'Cause I've never had anything, um, never seen anything like that. Like I've been to like circus stuff that kind of had the same
Hmm. Hmm.
kind of thing, but nothing like actual dancers.
Hmm.
So I mean that's cool.
This was pretty nuts because you would go in, so they had the lobby was a bar.
A basement bar, yeah.
Yeah, so you
Hmm.
go in, you get drinks, you're hanging out waiting for them to open the doors. They open and everybody kind of shuffles into the room and it just fills up like wall to wall, standing only.
Hmm.
And then the performance itself is like they've got like this, but it's a whole huge building wall
Mm-hmm.
with like a thing in front of it. So they're running down the backside and the music's hitting when their steps are hitting the like so it's like lighting up with the shadows as they run down the walls and
Oh,
stuff.
crazy!
They had like crepe paper across the top and they would
Hmm.
come through the paper down into the audience and like
Had this paper ceiling that was about this high from you, standing and reaching up, and that's how they open the show, right? They didn't have a curtain, so you just all end up in this low ceiling room, and then the show starts, blackout and music, and then they're crashing through and confetti and water. You get wet.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
You get completely wet.
yeah.
It was amazing. Amazing show.
yeah. One of the highlights of that trip for me for sure.
I saw that show countless times. Later I auditioned for it and I didn't get it. I knew tons of dancers in the shows. They'd be like, "Oh, my friends are here. I really want to take them," and I could always get tickets. I could always buy a ticket and go, and I saw it countless times. The show was just as much about the crowd, and so it was just a different experience every time.
Yeah, and so
Amazing.
that's what I think is part of the draw there, right? Is that
Mhm,
the the vibe, the experience that you're getting
mhm,
from being able to do a show like that builds on that
mhm,
creativity
mhm.
to where when you're actually starting your own company, now you've got like not that you've got their ideas, but you've got inspiration coming at you from all
Yeah,
different
yeah.
places when you're in a city like
The
that.
city is so inspiring. Just walking down the street, never mind the art museums, all amazing and the best and always open. And like, just the city was so inspiring, and so many nooks and crannies off the beaten path with locals. You know, you're there finding your tribe. You're there finding other artists, and collaboration was everywhere. You know, someone who loved lighting, someone who loved film, someone who loved just editing music. I mean, it was just amazing. I loved it there.
Well, if we have to ever go to New York for a podcast, I know what we're gonna do.
That show's no longer in New York.
Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. Sorry, guys.
I know, it's because as when we went back with the first time we took the kids, I was like, dude, we gotta take them to see the show, even though they'll be young. Like they won't like, but it'll be like their first real big thing like that.
Yeah.
And those types of things stick with you. I remember, I forgot to bring this up, but you mentioned that theater where Star Search was made me think of when, like, the first big thing I got to do like that was when you took me to Lion King.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm a kid. I traveled without my parents
Mhm.
down to visit with him in
New York,
L.A.
New York's Lion King was probably way different than the one I've seen.
Yeah, well, this was in L.A., but yeah,
Oh,
the
L.A.
the theater where they did it, like they had characters there that you could meet with. It was like an immersive kind of thing.
The Lion King act that I saw, it was actually in Ashland.
Oh cool.
And I think I was like 13 or 14. It was still pretty young, but it was cool to go see. I mean, some of the parts were like, all right, this is kind of cheesy.
And that was
But then,
like a live
yeah,
theater
it was like
act.
a live theater act. But then, like, the whole performance, like, just watching it was super cool. Like, everybody was really talented. And I was like, that seems, like, that's talent I don't have. But it's cool to see, other people,
Be able to
doing
do
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is actually one of the things I like about what we're doing here is that we are going to get to meet people and see different things where it's like, yeah, I've got no interest in like doing a Broadway show, but I would love to talk to Broadway performers. You know what I mean? Like, I think that that's a lot of fun to meet new people and
I
see them
mean,
be able to do stuff.
To be fair, like, the guests that we've had on um, have all been different. Like, they're all
Oh yeah.
different, comedian, photography, dancing. It's all awesome. Like, I love seeing everybody's, like, passions.
Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, so we're at the point now too where we're building our tribe. We're
Mm-hmm.
putting our team together, which you did with the Wes Veldink movement.
Mm-hmm.
That you mentioned earlier, the
company,
little
the dance
company you
company.
started, and
7 girls that I'd known for, I think the longest at that point was like 10 or 12 years. Couple of them followed me from LA, came later from LA, went had an exchange with UCLA and Columbia, I think, where she was going, or NYU. And then a seventh dancer that I had met there since being and living in New York. Yeah, and it was just perfect match. And that,
That's all, like, here in town, right? Or is that in Ashland?
no, that was in New York.
In New York. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Because I thought there was, like, you had one here in town.
Oh, the studio.
Studio, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that studio is still here. They were called All That Jazz when Karen and I opened it, and then they changed into Southern Oregon Dance Center. They've been that since like 2021, 2020.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, still here.
Oh.
And Karen is still still has it and still running it, and I work with the dancers periodically.
Does
and-
she do like different types of like dancing? Like
Yeah, they have-
like what kind of
ballet, tap, jazz, contemporary.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw something, which, when my little one gets a little older, if she wants to do that, cool. If
Mhm.
not, I don't mind either.
Mhm.
But I want her to be more, into like her Hawaiian, like
Mhm.
tribe.
Mhm.
And I heard the other day that there's a dance club here in town that teaches,
Hula?
yeah, like
Nice.
Hawaiian dance. So that's why I thought that was like your guys' studio.
Nice. No.
Then that's why I was asking.
I don't think her studio has hula. Might have been
Gotcha.
a different school. Now there's a couple. There's a couple ballet studios and
Yeah, but I was like, that would be cool for her to learn that. I'll do it with her, but
Mhm.
it would be cool to have that part of her life
Yeah, of course.
that she knows her Hawaiian,
Mhm.
life.
Oh yeah, kids knowing their culture I mean, that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Um,
So.
so yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's cool to see different.
Is that something that you did growing up? Like your parents taught you about your Hawaiian culture, or is this something that you're tapping into now that you're older and understanding it from your own perspective?
A little of both, honestly. Like, I kind of learned more about the Hawaiian lifestyle on my own. Still, for some reason, I've never been to Hawaii yet. Been to Florida for some reason. Totally different places. But I want her to know like her Hawaiian family more than what I know about it.
Hmm.
Is I guess what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's one of those things. It's like once you realize that you have like a little bit of a gap there, you're like, you always want to do that for your kids. Fill in
yeah.
whatever gaps
Mhm.
you feel like you were missing out on.
Right.
So it makes perfect sense to do that for her.
But she's gonna make her own choices and whatever. So
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm not
We
gonna
definitely
force
wanna
her,
let our
like, no,
kids-
you're doing this. No, she doesn't want to do it. She's not gonna do it. That's just how it is. That's cool that there's multiple like dance studios and stuff here.
Oh, now, yeah.
So does your does this what did you call the studio again?
Southern Oregon Dance Center.
Do they get on like other people who like want to learn how to dance and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's a studio where you can go train. Starting really young age, they do kids up to adults.
I gotcha. Okay.
And they put on some performances. I think a winter show and a summer, like end of the year concert. Yeah,
Okay.
they do it at the Grants Pass High
Yeah,
School.
the
Performing Arts.
PAC. Mhm.
Yeah. See, like I have no idea about like any of this because that's even though I do live in town,
Mhm.
and I'm pretty sure I know where that spot is. That's not really been my passion.
Mhm.
But like for everybody else who has that passion, who wants to be like, you know what, maybe I do want to start learning dancing and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Now at least they know, where they can come or
Mhm.
where they can ask people for help
Mhm.
to start doing all that.
Yeah, it's a great outlet for the kids.
Yeah, and that's good too. It's like, maybe my daughter would be, into dancing. I
Mhm.
never know.
Yeah, I mean, you're raising a girl, so the interests are going to be.
I think she's definitely gonna be a softball player.
Yeah.
Nice.
She loves chucking things at me. So.
She's got a good little arm.
Oh yeah,
How old is she?
she's 2 now.
Oh, baby.
Yep, she just turned 2. Good kid. She's a little angel.
Did she already dance at that age?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's her
The
new
the
favorite
diaper
thing.
wiggle is the funniest dance on the planet.
Oh yeah, and her new thing is, and maybe she will pursue dancing because she does love to dance, but she is also too. So
Yeah.
she's getting to that she'll dance to anything. But her favorite thing. So it used to be Frozen. The movie used to be her favorite movie. She danced to it all the time. I don't know if she just is bored of that movie finally, or she just doesn't really care for it much anymore. But her new thing, I love this. Her new thing is Moana.
Mm-hmm.
And every time that the songs start playing, she just goes hard, starts dancing.
Perfect.
So, I don't know. Maybe that'll be her passion one day.
Maybe.
And it'll be.
I think we're
be
just
cool.
gonna expose them to as much as possible.
Yeah,
and then
that's
see where their eyes light up or what they are attracted to. It's just so hard
Yeah.
to guess, you know.
Yeah, I just love seeing her like smile and dancing and stuff. It's like, well, maybe that would be really cool.
When she gets bored, she'll say she's bored, or
Yeah.
she might love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, she might end up with interests that are similar to yours, and she might. You're 100% right. Let them explore, expose them.
Mhm.
I would have never thought to suggest art. You know what I mean? Because I've
Right.
never been good at it. I've never been interested in it or pursued it. My daughter does artwork, and I go, "Holy crap!
Mhm.
You've got a talent that I would have."
Shout out to
Yeah, yeah. So she's got great, So it's one of those things, like you said, let them explore, expose them to new things, let them try stuff. They'll find out who they are.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, and that's really for anybody just wanting to learn how to dance and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's advice we actually been giving out to like the audience. It's like, take those steps, go find out what you love. What are you passionate about?
absolutely.
So,
Yep. Take that first big step.
mhm.
You'll never go back.
So with that, with the company in place and stuff, you guys started doing projects. You did like the off-Broadway show. I'm assuming that's what you would refer to it at the Broadway Dance Center, right?
Oh yeah, walking through walls. No, it wouldn't be because it didn't have an ongoing engagement.
Oh, it was just like a weekend thing.
I think we did 2 weekends and like 6 shows, or I don't remember if we had a matinee, but yeah, we had a short run, and it was a a dance studio, a huge dance studio room at Broadway Dance Center, and did a round formation with the audience, and so the dance took place in the center and audience. There was no front. It was everywhere was front.
Right. Yeah.
And that was so fun to explore and try and not be bound by the fourth wall or audience was everywhere. It was great.
Yeah. And I remember it was pretty cool because you did stuff with the lighting, and so like there was like that Alien song.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that one pretty vividly because it was like, wow. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, it was a Bjork song, I think.
Yeah. And and again, as a kid, even knowing like what you did with all that jazz and that kind of stuff, coming and experiencing a new culture and a new way of things, like that was huge for me. So like I said, that's kind of cemented in my mind on that part of it. And you guys did stuff too, right? You came out here as a group. Did you go other places? You said you went to LA as a group.
We went back to LA, took that show that you saw, Walking Through Walls, and took it to LA. We took it to Vancouver. I'm sorry, Toronto. And then we did a festival in South Korea. And then we did a second show called Responsibility, and that was at the Chelsea Piers. It was outdoor on the pier, and everything was about light, water, sky. And then we would just like guest performers or part of a festival where we'd have 5 or 10 minutes to present whatever we wanted. So we built a nice arsenal of work and bodies of work, and that was so exciting to me because in television and commercial and film, fashion, it's all really short, 2-3 minutes or that small dance in the movie, so the gigs and the content were short, and it was so exciting to create an evening, a real length of piece of work, and have a first act and a second act, and really create a world or a mood, an environment, and really explore it instead of it just being 2-3 minutes or type of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was fun. Got to choose the music and the lighting, and I got complete freedom to do what I wanted to do. So
Right.
that's always been the one of many things I'm so thankful for, is just being able to like work commercially and make money that I could do self-produced work
Right. Yeah.
where I had complete freedom and choice of the music to the lighting, the costumes, everything about it was um, mine to choose instead of selling a product or having to work with this song or having to stick to this script and this is what's happening. It
Right.
was so great to just have complete freedom.
Right.
Um. So now I'm curious with so you guys went to LA. Was that before you guys came here and did the Hellgate trip and
Yeah,
walked through the redwoods?
that was shortly after the show was 2000, and then we went to New York, I mean LA, shortly thereafter, then Vancouver, and then South Korea. And that finished in 2005. And then I think we came here for the anniversary show of All That Jazz, celebrating 20 years at that point.
Wow.
So that was 2009. Yeah, so the company had been long over since 2005. And Karen asked me to come back and be a part of the anniversary show. And so I had a bunch of dancers come up from LA, meet me here. And we rehearsed here, performed here. And then while we were here, I wanted to show them the redwoods and the Oregon coast. And so we made a short film on our way there in the redwoods and on the coast. And it ended up being the whole trip. Because once I realized we could do this thing with dancers that I love, and I've got them all here in one place. And I've had these long lasting friendship relationships with them, and finally I get to show them the redwoods, and I'm like, oh fuck, we're here at the redwoods, like let's make something. So it was a last minute thing, but that was great to come back and I danced with them, and I wasn't like dancing much at all that period of time since moving to New York. So that was great.
Yeah, that I do remember that trip, and I remember you mentioned long friendships. So Ayako,
Mm-hmm.
the first time you told me her name, I was rolling laughing because the way it's spelled and the way it is said are not actually no, it wasn't that. You said don't laugh when you read it in the brochure because the way you say it is not the same as it's spelled.
Her last name is Imafuku.
Yeah.
So if you change the spelling, I mean not the spelling but the pronunciation of what they use, it can be something else.
Okay. That's how you laughed. I got it.
Yeah, and I was a teenage boy, so
Right.
so yeah, I took.
I'm
that
so
joke.
glad you guys came and you saw that show. It's great.
Yeah, we got to do lots of fun stuff. So you've traveled to a lot of places. If there's some place that you like, missing family and that kind of stuff wasn't an issue that you would retire to, or that you really want to go back to and visit again and spend more time exploring.
I love so many places. Really anywhere, because another thing I'm so thankful for is these relationships and friends that I've just had forever and that are also family to me are all over in these places that I taught, danced, worked in. And so the thought of going to any of those places is so amazing because I would get to see these people that I've known for decades. I met them as a dancer, and now they own a restaurant, and or they've gotten married and they have kids. They're teachers themselves now. They have a dance company. They, could be doing something completely different, but I've really connected and bonded with so many people around the world. And when I was in New York, they would come visit me holidays and spend summers, and then I would go there and always piggyback, a week or two before, after the gig or the teaching, so that I could spend time with them and just live as a local. And so, man, I want to go to all those places again.
Yeah.
I can't say just one, but Japan and Italy were just really, I spent so much time there and all over both countries. And so a lot of people there and a lot of old dear friends. So that would be really exciting to be there and visit them again.
Japan would be cool. Because it's like, I'm I'm a big car guy, so like seeing all like the actual Japan JDM cars, and seeing like their car clubs and how they all work, like that would be super cool. I would love to go do that.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I remember when you came back from Japan and I was visiting with you and I was hanging out at the studio while you're teaching and I'm over
Here?
I can't remember if it was here or LA.
Okay.
I want to say it was like I came to see you in LA when you got back from Japan.
Okay.
Because I think I was staying with you, which normally would be out of town.
Mhm.
But I remember I'm sitting in the corner watching you teach class, but also going ichi ni san shi go,
you
like
were-
learning
you-
to count in Japanese because I thought it was so cool that you were going to Japan and all this stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. I forgot that you learned that. Yeah.
yeah, little tiny bit. I mean, again, just like one dance class. I'm in there trying to learn Japanese words, but yeah, I remember that was fun. And you said you had a great time over there. Do they still have a different Disney there? Because they used to have that Loki the Lion.
Yeah, they have Tokyo Disneyland. Yeah.
And so is it still like Loki instead of Mickey?
No, I think they always had a Mickey. I don't know. Or was it the Mickey character and named him Loki? No.
No, so man, I'm gonna have to
Loki
go.
was in a different park, or I don't know Loki. What's Loki?
What I remember, and again, this is a childhood memory, so it could be totally off. We'll have to correct me in post if I'm wrong. But I remember when you came back and you were telling stories, it was like you worked at some sort of park,
Oh, is that?
and they had a different mascot. So it was like Japanese
it was a lion.
Disneyland, but it was
No,
a lion instead of
okay,
a
now I'm with
mouse.
you. It was Haus Tenbosch is a Dutch theme park in the south of Japan. They replicated Holland town.
Oh, okay.
And then all the houses on the canal were vacation homes to people from the cities, Tokyo, Osaka. So it was a Dutch theme park, and I was playing a Dutch boy, and I was 18, turned 19 there. But we were all the townspeople of this Dutch town, and the lion, Loki was his name. I can't believe you remember his name. Was, I guess, the mascot. Yeah. And so we did a parade. We did similar to Disney. We had a parade. We had an evening show on this huge dock outside in front of this old pirate ship, and had Dutch horses in the parade, and we performed, and we were like the atmosphere for the.
See, this is why it's fun to recap this because I didn't realize it was like a Dutch amusement park.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining it as a kid, and I
Yeah.
remember Loki the Lion because you
Yeah.
gave me the stuffed animal when you came back.
That's it. That's it. Now I get it. Yeah, I
And
remember
then
now.
it was explained to me that it's like the Disneyland in Japan.
Yeah, it had just opened. I was in the original cast. They brought Dutch horses because to the Japanese, every detail and aesthetic needs to be on. So Japanese horses weren't good enough, so they brought in Dutch horses. They brought in Dutch people. I think the horses all came with Dutch horsemen and women to help take care of them and stay there. And they showed them like the town square where they had replicated, this building, and asked them about it. And they're like, "Yeah, this is crazy. I'm in Japan,
Right.
but this feels like I'm in Holland or Amsterdam. I'm not sure what city they copied, but there was some comment made about the width between the bricks, and the masonry wasn't quite right or too wide or something, and they tore it down and made another one.
Oh my gosh.
They just really wanted it to be accurate. Yeah.
Crazy.
So,
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
and what was crazy, we were playing Dutch people in a Dutch theme park in Japan, but we were singing in Japanese, not in Dutch. We're singing. We learned the show, and everything we were saying was Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like that one detail.
Yeah.
That can be different.
Yeah. We're Dutch speaking Japanese. Yeah.
Crazy. That sounds like a lot of fun, though.
It was fun.
Yeah. It sounds like you've had like a pretty fulfilling life.
Yes.
Like, I mean, you've had like so many adventures, which is that's awesome.
Mhm.
Like seeing so many places that people, wish they could go see at least. do you like? Do you still like if you had that chance to like go back to like New York and become like a bigger dancer? Would you do it, or are you at the point now where it's like, you know what, I'm happy here,
Hmm.
kind of thing?
Well, although I was based in LA for 10 years and in New York for 22, there was all these chapters within that. Like when I lived in Japan for a year, I
Right.
lived in Rome for 4 months doing a TV show. And so although I had traveled and been there many times all over Italy and Rome, especially later, I think I'd been going there for about 10 years. And then it's like, oh, how about you come and dance, be a dancer and dance on this Italian TV show? And I got to live in Rome, be there and not just for a couple weeks, but be
Mm-hmm.
there for 3 or 4 months working. So, um, again, it was like I followed my passion, had dreams, moved to LA, and that's what we all want to do is do what we love. And so I could have never foreseen, the traveling or the relationships that the people I was going to meet and be inspired by and intersect with art, their art, and then get to know their families and their cities and get to know their people and their tribe. And I just couldn't foresee that ahead of time. But I feel so lucky that I've had those relationships and had that experience. And you're doing what you love. Your your flight is paid for. Your housing is paid for. Your per diem for food or laundry, and then you go home with a salary. And so you've made money, and you got to hang out with these people that you've known for 10 years, and you see them every year this time, and get to dance, and you get to eat and share and catch up, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that's awesome.
Well, and that's part of why I wanted to have him on as a guest because I figured with the journey that we're on and the way we're going, I figured that's definitely hearing a story like this, like because we both have this thing of like we grew up in Grants Pass, but we want to do something bigger than
Mhm.
Grants Pass, but not leave Grants Pass behind.
Mhm.
Right. So I figured hearing a story like this would be helpful for us.
Yeah.
And then again, to encourage the audience. I know that we say that a big piece of this is to like help promote your socials, which we're happy to help, do that. But it's not like you're relying on us for what you're doing. You're more here, I think, for an inspirational story for us. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I
mean, I
mean?
love I love talking about my life and my story because I just feel so fortunate, and I had dreams that came true that you know I left here for, and then I remember around year 8 or 9, I was like, I want to do more than this, and I feel like those dreams I had come true in LA. So then it was like New York, um, and the timing was perfect, and I went to New York for more, and it was it wasn't like I was tired of LA, but I just remember thinking I wanted to be in a music video, I wanted to meet so and so, I wanted to do a film, and it really was like I did those things, and I'd been visiting New York a lot in the mid '90s. My first time there was before I moved to LA. Actually, in 1990, I went to New York the first time. But moving to LA made more sense because it was close,
Right.
when I had visited New York, there were a lot of like you should audition for this. Les Mis was a big show coming out at that time, and um, but I just remember LA really hit home for like the music video, film stuff I wanted to do, and yeah, we like we were saying with the kids, we want them to follow their passions and expose them as much as possible, so they find that passion, and then there's your path. Like there's you let it unfold and work hard and have trust and faith and in that you deserve to be happy, you deserve to be fulfilled, you deserve to be on an adventure and not
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be a miserable life. um spending so much time doing something you don't love, you know
Hmm.
and I just felt really fortunate that I was able to do that. And a lot of my teaching and mentoring that I do is with people who want a career in art, for a lack of a better term. They want to make a living doing what they love. And so I'm trying to help them and nurture that, belief in your art, and accepting it as a journey, and loving what you do and trusting that, and then working hard, and just really being open to sacrifice, and open to what is going to come back at you with you being so bold to go after a dream, or you being so bold to say, I want to do this, I'm going to take a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel really, really fortunate for that.
Well, I can't think of a better message to end on. We'll obviously put links and that kind of stuff in the description for your socials, but if you want to plug them on the camera, you can look right over here at this one. And
Yeah, we'll plug them there. I'm not really on social very much, but the Little Rogue Prince, the little.rogue.prince on Instagram. And then under that profile, you'll find my mentoring and teaching profile, which is Chi of Art. And then there's also a profile for my styling, like working in fashion stuff, and art direction, things that I do in that realm. And Danielle Kelly Music is on Instagram, and you'll find her there. And if you're local, go check out any chance you can to see her perform. She's got a lot of dates coming up, beautiful venues. Yeah, she's great. Just check her out too.
Right on.
Thanks for having me.
yeah, thank you for coming and sharing your story. And there's so much more to this adventure. We could keep talking and talking, but
Yeah.
maybe we'll do a follow-up one, and you guys will know each other a little better, so I won't dominate this side of the table as much. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to come and share with us and inspire us.
Thanks, guys. I love you, Brad.
Love you too, buddy. All right.